It is the most wonderful time of the year. I'm not talking about just Christmas season. I'm not talking about the cold weather outside, the briskness that brings you indoors with your loved ones, your family, some good food, and some football. I'm talking about fantasy playoff time. If it hasn't started already for you, it most likely has. Welcome to fantasy playoffs. Welcome to week 15 in the NFL. And welcome to what I believe is going to be the best show of the Swank Tank this season so far. Week 15, we have a full slate. Every single NFL team, all 32 of them, are playing in this week 15, and I'm going to break them all down for you on this episode. We're going full predictions, analysis, picks, bets, DFS picks, the whole works, all of it. Everything and anything week 15 in the NFL, we've got it here on this Thursday morning. It is indeed Thursday morning, December 11th. Welcome into the show. Welcome into the Swank Tank. I'm your host, Ryan Swankowski. If you are new around here, welcome in. Welcome in. If you're not new and you're a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. That means you enjoyed it. If you are not already, please make sure you go and follow on all the socials at The Swank Tank. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You'll find us at The Swank Tank. Got great content continuing to come out as the season progresses. YouTube, obviously, 2-minute episodes a week. 2 or 3 clips a day on Instagram and TikTok. You do not want to be missing everything that's going on those socials. Make sure and go and follow over there. So much to talk about in this episode. I already prefaced that it might be my best and maybe my favorite so far of all the episodes we've done this season, because we've got every single team playing. But it is crunch time. Not only fantasy crunch time, NFL playoff crunch time. We got several teams fighting for playoff spots, fighting to still clinch a division. A lot of divisions still up for grabs, and we got 4 weeks left. That's it in the regular season. We got a lot going on. And a lot to break down in this episode. Without further ado, come on now. Let's get past this intro. We got some ball to talk. That's what you're here for. That's why you're here. Thank you so much for being here, as always. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Thursday Night Football. Here we go. Kicking things off here in Tampa Bay, the 4-9 Falcons traveling to take on the 7-6 Buccaneers. Thursday Night Football. This game's got a lot of meaning to it. It wouldn't have maybe quite as much if the Bucs last week took care of business against the Saints. That did not happen. The Tyler Shuck effect happened against the Bucs last week. Can the Falcons repeat what the Saints just did and pull off a big upset in Tampa? We're going to have to wait and see. But let's dive into my analysis of this game. Tampa Bay here is minus 4.5 in their own building. Off the rip, I'm just going to tell you, I like the spot a lot for the Buccaneers. I think a lot of people might be feeling that way in this game. But let me preface with this before getting deeper into it. There's some games this week that a lot of people are going to be picking based off either 1, bias, or 2, a quote, bounce back. I've been trying to do a lot less of that this season overall, and it's worked a lot in my favor. Oh, this good team lost last week. Oh, they must bounce back. It's their time. They're due, air quotes there, if you're not watching. I'm not doing that much this year. I'm comparing teams, statistics, injuries, matchups, versus just saying, you know what, they lost last week. It's a, quote, bounce back. I've done that a few times. Don't get me wrong. But that's not really the angle I'm looking at for any of these games. I haven't, and I continue to not throughout this episode and throughout the remaining episodes. Yeah, I'll throw it in there every now and then. Like this really good team lost a hard game. They're going to just bounce back. We don't even need to look at, a majority of those other main factors. I'm going to have a few of those in there every now and then. But mainly I won't. And this is a spot where I like the matchup for the Bucs, not just a, quote, bounce back game for them. I mean, it will be, quote, a bounce back, but I'm not purely basing the win off of that. Here's why. No Drake London. Already off the rip, that's a huge loss for the Atlanta Falcons. He's not only their best receiver, he's, outside of Bijan Robinson, their best player on the team. Him being out, it's been several weeks now, he hasn't played. The Falcons have really, really struggled to get anything going offensively. The Falcons as a team have really struggled to get anything going on both sides of the football, or even in all 3 phases. Obviously, Michael Penix out for the season. It is still Kirk Cousins at the helm. So you already take away Drake London. Then you got Kirk Cousins at the helm, and the Bucs are also now, backs against the wall a little bit after their loss last week. Bucs are sitting at 7-6. I mean, they're essentially tied right now for the NFC South. They have not played the Panthers yet. That is going to be their first game next week, and then they play them again in Week 18. Cinema, as we like to say around here, cinema. But a lot of things jump off the page right from the get-go there, right? Bucs at home, back against the wall. Kirk Cousins, it remains to be the starter. No Drake London. 3 huge factors in this game, obviously, right? Those are well known. Kirk has played in 6 games this year. He has 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 6 games played. Not all those were starts, but in 6 games played, 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. What does that tell you? I mean, we all know this. If you pay attention to the league, you pay attention to the Falcons, you know this. Kirk Cousins in the good old 2025 is not a threat. Not a threat whatsoever. He's very immobile. And, I mean, his accuracy's not quite there. It's almost time for Kirk Cousins to hang up the cleats. Pull an anti-Phillip Rivers, apparently. It's almost time for him. But in 6 games played, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, those numbers, if I'm the Buccaneers, you love those numbers. You love seeing that. Kirk is, it's sad to say, but relatively a non-factor at this point in his career. Great human being, great career. Love Kirk Cousins. Who doesn't love Kirk Cousins? I love Kirk Cousins. But when we're looking at it from a game-by-game standpoint, nobody's worried about Kirk Cousins anymore, right? Let's talk about the Bucs. The Bucs' biggest weakness has been what? And continues to be their secondary. That doesn't really worry me here, with Kirk Cousins at the helm. The Bucs run defense, giving up the 8th fewest rushing yards in the NFL this season. So you have a Falcons team that's already essentially one-dimensional, and then now you're going up against a top 10 rushing defense, top 8 in that, against, the Buccaneers, led by Vita Vea. Yikes. This is a great matchup for the Bucs. It's a great time for them to try to get comfortable. Along with that, Mike Evans could be back in this spot. Maybe. It's not official that he's playing. It does feel like he's got some momentum to play here. Has missed several weeks due to injury, obviously. I think he'll be back here. If not, I'm still not worried about the Bucs in the spot. I like Tampa. Falcons have given up the 9th most rushing yards in the NFL this season. What do the Buccaneers want to do? They want to feed Bucky Irving, especially if there's no Mike. They want to feed Bucky. They're going to relatively be able to do that here. Top 8 rushing defense for the Bucs, bottom 10 rushing defense for the Falcons. Alongside all those other Falcons problems, I should say, we've already touched on. Also, maybe the biggest note, the Falcons have given up the most rushing yards to quarterbacks this season of any team. What does Baker Mayfield like to do? Especially in the clutch. What does Baker Mayfield like to do? He likes to tuck that thing and run. Put the helmet down and go through you. Dive for those extra 2 yards, 3 yards, whatever it may be. Baker is a very mobile quarterback. Baker is an absolute dog. When he needs the extra yard, he will put his head down and get it. The Falcons have been allowing that more than anybody this season. All these numbers are going to say, Bucs. I like the Bucs here. I like them big. I like them to cover. It's Buccaneers all day long. First game of the Week 15 slate. I'm taking Baker Mayfield. I'm taking the Bucs in their building to get a big bounce back W for all of those reasons. We move forward into the noon slate now. The first game of the noon slate will cover the Cardinals, the 3-10 Cardinals, eliminated from playoff contention, of course, at the 8-5 red-hot, scorching hot Houston Texans. If you're not watching, I am wearing my Dead Threads Houston Texans t-shirt. No free ads. They do make really good stuff, though. I mean, this is a really cool shirt. It's C.J. Stroud as like a skeleton on a bolt. It's dope. But they're red hot. The Houston Texans have won 5 straight. They just defeated the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Exactly how they wanted to. They scored 20 points. 20 points at Arrowhead, okay? And won by 10. They held the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, to 10 points. That defense, we say it week in and week out, is ridiculous. At the end of the season, it is in contention to be one of the best defenses of all time, especially on the pace that they're at, especially now that they're playing the Cardinals. Their stats might get a little bit better. Let's get into this here. Texans are minus 9.5 in this spot. Cardinals have lost 5 straight and are giving up over. Oh, here we go. Let me slow down. Let me state this as clear as I can. The Cardinals have lost 5 straight football games. In those 5 losses, they're giving up over 35 points per game. That is not a typo. You heard that correctly. Over 35 points per game. Also, Marvin Harrison Jr. might not play in this spot. Bam Knight is still RB1. Trey Benson was not activated off IR. Michael Wilson's been a dog for them. Wilson's been all over the place for the Cardinals in their losses, in their 5 straight losses. Texans defense remains to look unstoppable and is unstoppable. And even if that defense were to somehow bend, let's say Wilson goes for 202 touchdowns, which will not happen. Let's just say he does it. The Texans defense, they would bend and not break. They haven't broken essentially all year long, for the most part. I like the Texans here, guys. I like the Texans offense to get comfortable. Maybe if they can get comfortable here, I think everything's on the table for the Houston Texans right now. They still have the Colts to play down the stretch, but they have a relatively easier game here against the Cardinals. Then they have the Raiders, and they have the Chargers, who are dinged up, injured, rough offensive line. Texans have a lot of opportunity to do some real good things here. And I think that offense against a very weak Arizona Cardinals overall defense can really find some success in a much-needed spot for the Texans offense to get things going before playoff time. That's what I like here. Give me the Texans to get going. Give me Nico to get going. Woody Marks got dinged up last week. Nick Chubb left the game early. So the run game's a little bit in question. But I like Stroud. In last week, you saw it a little bit. Third quarter, not so much. I like Stroud to get more comfortable here. One thing that worries me is that the Cardinals blitz a lot. I believe they're in the top 3 of blitzing teams. They dial up the pressure. That's not necessarily effective pressure, but it's pressure. Against the Chiefs in the third quarter especially, Spagnuolo knew exactly what he was doing, as he's done his entire career, dialed up the damn pressure against the Houston Texans, bringing the blitz. And it got to them. It really hindered them. That's the Texans' biggest weakness, picking up blitzes on the offensive front. The Cardinals bring pressure. Again, it's not necessarily positive pressure. It's not necessarily pressure that gets home and creates results, but it does cause a little bit of chaos. Only thing that worries me, even in the slightest here. Outside of that, I like the Texans comfortably. I like their defense to still play very stout. I like C.J. Stroud to get comfy. Give me the Texans here. I don't mind a minus 9.5 whatsoever. It's not in my banks, my Swank's banks. If you're new here, that's my 6 favorite bets of every NFL week. Not in my banks, I'll tell you that. But I would not hate that bet whatsoever. Give me Houston. We roll forward. Now we have the 3-10 Browns. Shadur, the non-perfect timing. He played great last week, don't get me wrong. But they lost to the Titans. Very interesting game. The 3-10 Browns traveling to take on the 9-4 Bears. What were hot, red hot Chicago Bears, following last week to Green Bay, moved to 9-4, moved to barely in the playoffs at 9-4 in the NFC. Welcome to Snowger Field. That's my motto for this game. Come on, give me a little credit. There, a little pat on the back. Come on, Soldier Field, Snowger Field. If you're not understanding what I'm getting at here, this game has a chance to be -10, feel like -10 degrees with wind chill. It is going to be the frozen tundra, or as I call it, Snowger Field. This game is going to be very interesting, given the weather and given the situation here. Weather here will absolutely play an effect in game planning and overall game outcome. 1,000%. It's going to be absurdly cold, people. Very, very cold. And that means, so very cold weather games, typically, what does that mean? Run heavy. And honestly, both these teams, Not only do they like to be run heavy, they are run heavy. These are almost run for the Browns are definitely a run first team, or they should be. The Bears also love to pound the rock. They're top 5 in rush yards per game this season. But with Monangai and with Swift, the 1-2 punch, both these teams like to run the rock. And this is a spot where they're both going to be able to. And I'm not going to be the one with the mic being the, quote, super smart one that finds a way to wiggle in there and say, no, this is going to be a game that the over hits and where there's going to be a lot of passing, and this is the spot where your bets, you can win so much money. No, I'm not going to be the one that says that. I'm going to be the one that sticks to what I know and sticks to what typically happens in these types of games. It's run first, given the weather, given the wind, given how cold it is, given how hard it's going to be to throw the ball in a game like this. That being said, I do like Colston Loveland's volume here. And on the flip side, Harold Fannin as well. These defenses don't give up a ton of points to tight ends. The Browns actually have been pretty strong overall against tight ends this year, fantasy-wise especially. The Bears have been pretty good, I think, overall as well against tight ends. But given the situation, give me more volume for them, 100%. That's Loveland, that's Fannin. I'm not telling you to take them. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they see an uptick in targets in this spot. And why exactly is that, right? So, yes, I mentioned the weather. That's a big factor into why I think these tight ends will be getting more targets. There's also another big factor. The running defense, for Cleveland especially, for Loveland and Cleveland especially. So, I like Loveland especially to get more targets, not only because of the weather, but because the Browns' rushing defense overall has been very solid this year. So if you give me the cold weather, you tell the Bears to run the football, which they love to do, but you put them up against a very strong Browns defensive front that's been stopping the run relatively well all year long. Not last week, I get it. Tony Pollard ran all over him. Really shocked me. Shocked everybody. Pollard got whatever he wanted. It was the one game this year the Browns' running defense didn't look top 10. They're still a top 10. They're going to stack the box, make Hill throw the football. Loveland. That's where that thought process comes from. Cold weather makes you want to run the ball. Browns defensive front, very good at stopping the run overall. Got to throw it. Where are you going to throw it? Loveland, especially in the cold. That's how I see this going. Also, Browns running defense only giving up 3.8 yards per carry. I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging for the Bears to run the ball overall than one may believe, especially given how the Browns' run defense played last week, right? Recency bias is a thing. If you don't follow this game super closely, you only follow on a week-to-week basis or, 3-week-long stats stick in your mind, you're thinking, the Browns' run defense has kind of been relatively weak. It's a pretty good unit. That's where my thought process is here. So, Swank, who's going to win the game? Just give me the winner. It's a tough one, in all honesty. I'm going to take the Bears, though. No upset here for me. Give me Chicago in their own building to get it done. I think last week they lost, but they still played overall well. The defense played all right. The secondary did not. The running game played okay. All this to say, the Bears stuck around last week. They lost the game, but they stuck around. And the Chicago Bears of 2025 have a lot of grit and a lot of fight to them. This is a game where they're going to need that, given it might be negative 10 freaking degrees, or at least feel like it. And that game plan may not go exactly how they want to. But if they find Loveland, and if they use short passes, maybe use Swift a little bit more in the passing game, I think they'll find a little bit of success to get them to a win. I'm going to take Chicago here. Give me the Bears in their building to get it done. Let's keep moving forward. And this is a fun game I've been looking forward to talking about all week long. The 6-7 Ravens traveling to take on the 4-9 Bengals. Bengals just beat the Ravens on Thanksgiving, 32-14, I believe it was. And how did they do it? How did the Bengals just 2 weeks ago beat the Ravens? At the time, red hot Ravens, they're back. Here they come. Here comes Lamar. Their defense, they're finally healthy. Oh my gosh, they're going to put the pieces together. No, it didn't happen on Thanksgiving. Oh, last week it was going to happen in their own building against Pittsburgh. It's bound to... No. If you haven't already, squeak the eyes, wake up, people. The Baltimore Ravens in 2025 are a bad football team. They are sitting at 6-7. They're on the outside looking in. Hell, the Steelers are 7-6 and are leading the AFC North. I mean, the Ravens are a bad football team in 2025. The Bengals, how'd they beat them 2 weeks ago? Turnovers. They cost 5 of them. 5 of them. Ravens last week took a catastrophic L against the Steelers. And here's their theme in their losses. You ready for this one? So I just told you, the Ravens are 6-7. In all 7 of the Ravens' losses, they've lost a turnover battle. All 7 of their losses. Baltimore's lost a turnover battle. You may be thinking, well, that's kind of how it works. That goes hand in hand. You know, you lose a turnover battle, you lose the game. Guys, it's not always like that. A lot of teams this year have lost a turnover battle and still won at least one game. I guarantee it. The Ravens, every single one of their losses, losing in the turnover department. That's kind of been the story, you know, of their season, especially as of late, especially against the Bengals 2 weeks ago. Not protecting the football. Along with that, Lamar's just flat out not playing well. He's not playing up to his standard. Whether you want to put that onto a little bit of offensive line regression, whether you want to put that on his weapons really not being elite, whatever excuse you want to give him, he isn't playing up to standard. He is not playing up to par. And that's very evident. And we talked about this last week. It's been very evident for Lamar Jackson not playing up to what he needs, to the standard we all expect of him. Let's talk about the Bengals defense. It's awful. It's horrific. T. Higgins probably out here with another mini concussion situation. He's questionable. I don't think he's going to play here. If he did, it'd be a bad look for the Bengals, I think. Especially, they're 4-9. They're out of the playoffs. Let's be real. Don't risk a career of a guy you're paying a lot of money in a not meaningless, but for your own playoff sakes, meaningless football game. If I'm the Bengals, I hold T. Higgins out. But who knows? He's questionable. He may play. Trey Hendrickson's out for the season. He's not going. It's real rough over there for that Bengals defense. I believe they're still bottom 5, if not bottom 8 in both categories, rushing and passing. It's horrible. So this all comes full circle, right? Oh, now is the spot. Now is my camera's auto-correcting over here. If you're watching on YouTube, sorry for the auto-correction. It's being a little glitchy. That's okay. So now it comes full circle, right? Oh, it's finally time for Lamar and the Baltimore Ravens to get it going. Pick it up. Put it into gear. No. I'm taking the Bengals. Even if T. Higgins doesn't play, even without Trey Hendrickson, I'm taking Joe Burrow and the Bengals in their own building to end the Ravens season. That's what I'm taking this week. This could be very much wrong, but at this point in time, I can't come up here on this show, and I haven't been. A lot of the weeks I've been picking anti-Ravens. Last week I picked the Steelers, but I can't come up here and confidently tell you that the Ravens will win this football game. I can't come up here and tell you that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are going to click now offensively. No. For that reason, I'm going to take Joe Burrow, who's had a lot of success against the Ravens in his career. He has 23 touchdowns to 5 interceptions in 10 games against the Ravens in his career. Fantastic numbers. In his own building to end the Baltimore Ravens season. A lot of people will be thinking this is a great spot for Baltimore. Statistically, it is. Against that defense, it is. But if you've watched Baltimore all year, this is a weak football team on both sides of the football. So are the Bengals. But the Bengals at home with the chance to end the Ravens season, hypothetically, Joe Burrow, great numbers against the Ravens. Why not? Give me the Bengals in their own building to do it. I like Joe Burrow in DFS or fantasy if you have him. Give me the Bengals. You get a major upset in their own building. Let's keep going. The 9-4 Chargers, coming off a huge win against the Eagles, traveling to take on the 6-7 Chiefs in Arrowhead. Chiefs minus 5.5 here. Might be a little rich for my taste. Here's the thing. I'm a little worried about the Chargers in the spot. I'm worried they're going to come out a little flat after that huge win, Monday Night Football win against the Eagles. That took a lot out of them. Defensively, caused, 5 turnovers from Hurts alone? Hurts, the play where he had 2 turnovers in one play. I'm worried the Chargers come out flat. Herbert's left hand, he's got the broken bone or broken, whatever it is, in his left hand. He looks a little bit uncomfortable. You could tell when he's in the pocket. He looks uncomfortable. I'm worried they'll come out flat. That's the thing here. And the Chiefs aren't making the playoffs. It's over for them. It's done. My Texans put a dagger in their season. But the Chiefs want to win this game, and they want to win this game bad. And that's very, very evident. The main reason for that, the Houston Texans made the Chiefs change their identity last week. Andy Reid going for it on their own, 30-yard line on 4th down in the fourth quarter against Houston. When has he done that? They made the Chiefs change their game plan, change their overall identity to try and beat them. It did not work. It backfired. The Chiefs lost the game. The Chiefs want this one badly. They're out. But they not only want to win, they want to beat their in-division rival in Arrowhead. And I think they're going to do that here. But if they're going to do it, talking about changing of identity, I think it's going to have to come on the ground. Here's why. Chargers have given up the least passing touchdowns in the NFL this season. 12 touchdowns through the air. That's it. That is the least in the NFL. And on top of that, they have 15 interceptions. Get that. The Chargers defense has 15 interceptions on the season now and is leading the league in touchdown passes given up. They've only given up 12. Best in the NFL. Yet, in the running game, bottom 12 in the NFL with 15 rushing touchdowns allowed. That's where it comes into play here. I think the Chiefs need to run the football, which they haven't done all year long consistently. It's a good spot for them to do it. Very good spot for them to do it. Whether that's Pacheco, whether that's Hunt, whether it's Mahomes, whether it's all three. That's where this game will be won for the Chiefs, and I think that's how they do win this game. But, as we have to note, Chiefs offensive line, been a major question, continues to be a major question, huge issue for them. They had one of their O-linemen go down first play against Houston. He's out for the season. They're shorthanded at O-line. That's been very evident and very clear for several weeks, and now even more going into this game against the Chargers. But, like for all the previous reasons I mentioned, give me Kansas City to win. And the run game may not be there instantly. I think they got to keep going at it. I think that Chargers defensive front will give a little bit eventually. That's how the Chiefs, to me, are going to win this game. And it is worrisome because, again, the Chiefs offensive line is rough. Chargers are top 10 in sacks in the NFL. That's where the angle you give me where the Chargers will win, I would say, okay, I get it. I get that. Give me Mahomes here to do quick passes. Maybe it's Hunt out of the backfield. Quick things, right? To get rid of the ball fast and give me the run game to get going if the Chiefs want to win. Give me Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs to do it in Arrowhead. I'm taking Kansas City to get it done. We now move into one of the biggest games of the weekend, maybe of the season. The 9-4 Buffalo Bills traveling to take on the 11-2 New England Patriots in Foxborough. Buffalo is favored. The Bills are -1.5 here. Something to note, New England knows that too. I guarantee you they know it. The Pats, let's start with their defense. The Patriots have the best running defense in the NFL. To me, it's top 5 in a lot of categories. To me, it's the best running defense in the NFL. Here's the thing. Flip side, Buffalo has the most rushing yards in the NFL. Off the bat, one of them's got to give. Which one is it going to be? Let's keep going. The Bills have given up the least passing yards in the NFL this year. So, what does that tell us? Maybe you can't rely on Drake May, how you normally would, or you would believe the Patriots have been doing this year. They have been, but in this spot specifically, you would think, okay, Drake, Go get it done. Go do your thing. Go put up those numbers you've been putting up, leading us to victory. It may not come from Drake May this game, yards-wise. Big play-wise, definitely so. Maybe so. Yards-wise, the Bills, can you believe the Bills have given up the least amount of passing yards this year in the NFL? Because I did not know that. So they're giving up the least amount of passing, and they also have the most rushing yards on offense in the NFL. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. All that to say, I don't think you can rely on Drake May in this game as much as the Patriots are going to want to. The big question, though, can Josh Allen go full superhero mode again? Feels like every other week he's having to do it. Last week, he went ballistic against the Bengals. Everything he wanted, he got. All of it. Wanted to run it into the end zone? Sure. 50-yard bomb? Sure. Whatever he wanted. Can he do that again in this spot? Here's my answer. I don't think so. I don't think so in this spot. And I'm going to emphasize this one word, enough. I don't think he can be Superman in this game enough for them to get the win. Give me New England here to get their run game going. That's the factor. So we just touched on the Chiefs having to get the run game going. And they haven't been able to really all year long consistently. The Patriots as well have not been able to fully get that run game going, especially yardage-wise, consistently. The Bills are a bottom 8 team when it comes to rushing defense. New England's going to have to run the football. Can they do it? That's the question to be asked. I personally think they can. Stevenson, Henderson, maybe even a little Drake May keeper here and there. That's where they're going to have to win this game offensively. Defensively, obviously, it's a crazy matchup. Best running offense versus the best passing defense. It's a wild matchup, and I can't wait to see it. But I think New England's going to be able to run the ball here. It's just a little bit better than one may believe. And Will Campbell's out. I get that. That's the big loss for New England. He's been out a few weeks now. So that could be a question mark. Hey, can New England really run the ball effectively in this spot? I think they can do it well enough. And if they play clean, there was a lot of mumble jumble, but if they play clean, I think they can squeak it out. I think they can. Don't give Josh Allen the football. Tick, 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 tick that clock with that run game. Get it going with Henderson, with whoever you want, with Stevenson, with Drake May, whoever it is. Get the run game going. Take the clock, take care of the football. New England's going to win this football game. That's how I see them doing it if they're going to. Give me New England. Give me Drake May. Give me the Pats to get it done in their own building as underdogs in their own building. Give me the Pats. Next up, the 3-10 Commanders at the 2-11 Giants. We're going to keep this one quicker compared to the others. There's no Jaden Daniels in this game. He got injured again. Man has been made of glass this season. Sad to see. Not hating. Part of the game, sadly. He's been made of glass this year. It's the truth. It's going to be Marcus Mariota at the helm. Kafka still looking for his first win as the Giants' interim head coach. Keyword there is interim. Because he's not going to be the main head coach moving forward. That's pretty much known. He's still looking for his first win. No Jaden Daniels. Is it Kafka or Kafka? Whatever one of the two is. Looking for his first win in New York at the Meadowlands. I'm going to take the Giants here. I'm going to take the Commanders secondary, bottom 5 in yards given up, and they have given up the 4th most passing touchdowns in the NFL. Giants defense on the flip side is basically no better. Giants secondary, not good. Giants have honestly a worse running defense than the Commanders have had this year. It's bad on both fronts. Both these defenses are essentially bottom 5 overall. They've been terrible. One thing the Giants can do is get to the quarterback. Commanders have been very middle of the pack in allowing sacks, so that's not really a major factor to look at here. Just overall, both these defenses are very lackluster. You have Jackson Dart, which is phenomenal for the Giants, and I believe obviously he brings a huge playmaking ability. There's no Jaden Daniels. I mean, what exactly is this game even going to be? I'll tell you this. I'm going to take a Giants win. I like Dart here in this spot. I like maybe Tracy or Singletary in this spot. Maybe Bill can get going here a little bit for the Commanders against the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants. to get the win. Give me Dart in his building to get the dub. Give me Kafka to get his first win. And, this game doesn't have a ton of implications whatsoever, unless we're talking draft picks. Give me the Giants. And also, here's a note. Give me the over. I like the over a lot in this game. We'll touch on that more in Swank Spanks. Give me the Giants just to get it done. This game really has no meaning, but every game matters, especially on this show when it comes to the NFL. Give me the Giants. We keep going. We are fired up about this one. We're fired up about this game. The 2-11 Raiders traveling to take on the 8-5 Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Eagles are minus 11.5. I would take minus 13.5. I would maybe take minus 15.5. I would maybe take minus 16.5. Eagles here, huge. Out the gate for this analysis, I'm giving it to you. Eagles here, huge. I love the matchup. We touched on this earlier in the show. I'm not just saying it because they need to bounce back. I like this matchup a lot for Philly. Prime spot for them not only to win, for them to dominate and to show that, yeah, I won the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, we have an unbelievable amount of talent on offense. Yeah, we got a top 5 back in Barkley. We got a top 10 receiver in Brown. That's us. That's who we have. That's who we can use to put up 40 on you. The Eagles here are going to blow out the Raiders. That's a prediction here for me. I love 11.5. I would take 15.5 if it came down to it. The Raiders have given up the most sacks in the NFL, and they have the least rushing yards in the NFL. If the Eagles get back Jalen Carter, they are going to smother the Raiders. Alongside that, there's no Geno Smith in this game, most likely. Who does that bring in? Only the former Eagle himself, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett will be at the helm of the Raiders, who are giving up the most sacks in the NFL and have the least amount of rushing yards in the NFL. Guys, this is a disaster spot for the Raiders. It's any game for the Raiders this year has been a disaster spot. That's how bad they are. This could not be worse of a spot for the Raiders. Going to play in the damn cold weather on top of that, the Eagles could win this game by 30, and I wouldn't bat an eye. That's how confident and comfortable I am in Philly here. Not just because of a bounce back, but because of the matchup, especially if Jalen Carter's back. For the Eagles, this team has lost 3 straight. 3 straight games. They're looking to turn this around, and they have to if they want to make the playoffs in the NFC, given how competitive it is. Here's another big note, another big thing here. That offense for Philly has been asleep for 2.5 games. They went up big against the Cowboys. It was 21-0. Since that moment, that offense has been asleep, completely asleep. They did absolutely nothing against the Chargers besides that one trick play to Barkley. The past 2.5 games, they've been very unsuccessful in everything they've been trying to do. It's time for them to wake up. Raiders have given up the second most rushing touchdowns in the NFL. What does that tell me? It's time for Saquon to erupt. It's time for the Eagles to erupt. This is the spot to where if the Eagles go on a run, you look back and say, this is where it clicked. In Philly, in the cold. Kenny Pickett at the helm for the Raiders. This is the spot. This should be ugly. Eagles big here. Saquon's a lock in DFS for me. Eagles defense is a lock in DFS for me. Primetime spot for the Eagles to get things going again, and this is where they do it. Give me Philly here, huge. I think I emphasized that enough. Moving on. The 3-10 Jets traveling to take on the 9-4 Jags. Jags are minus 13.5 here in their own building. We're seeing some big spreads this week. It's that time of year where some teams are completely dead in the water. The Jets are one of those teams. This is Jags here, 100%. The Jags are going to win this football game, but I'm not touching the spread. As I said earlier in the show, too rich for my taste. 13.5 in the NFL. Too rich for me. But it's going to be the Jags. Jags are going to win this football game. And it's going to be off the back of their defense. The Jags defense should feast in this game. Jags defense has one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. Make the Jets one-dimensional, which essentially they're zero-dimensional. But you know they like to use Breece Hall in the run game. So they're going to be very one-dimensional, ultra one-dimensional in this football game. Tyrod Taylor is at the helm for the New York Jets. You trust Tyrod Taylor to go into Jacksonville and get a win here? God, no. God, no. That's not going to happen. If it does, that'd be insane. One of the biggest upsets of the season. But the Jags defense should feast here. Them Jaguars are seeing some good old meat out there in the forest, in the jungle, I should say. And they're about to pounce. That was a little sus. Ignore that. That's not what I was intending. But you get the point. Jets giving up the third most rushing yards in the NFL. So the Jags are going to have that 1-2 punch in Tootin and ETN, along with the defense getting after Tyrod Taylor. This shouldn't be a very close game. I mean, Jets have also given up the third most sacks in the NFL. They're just vulnerable on all fronts. And the Jaguars defense likes to bring it. They're intense. They got Hines Allen. They got Trayvon Walker. Other pieces over there that can bring the heat. They're going to dial it up. They're going to do that here in this spot. Jaguars defense to have a solid day in this game, 100%. Let's see if that Jags offense can remain consistent. Travis Hunter maybe, actually I think he's out for the season, if I'm not mistaken. He may be coming back. I don't think he is. Regardless, let's see if that Jaguars offense can become more consistent. They've been great the past 2 weeks. They were really great last week. In a spot against the Jets defense is not very good whatsoever. Can they remain consistent? Because I think the defense is going to do their job. I think the run game should do their job. Can they put it all together? It's a good spot for them to do so. Let's see if they can. Give me the Jags to get the big-time win. Big time or just a solid win to remain atop the AFC South. Oh, boy. Here we go. Here we go indeed. The 9-3-1 Packers traveling to take on the 11-2 Denver Broncos. Oh, boy. One of the best games of the weekend. Monumental game in terms of standings, in terms of winning their divisions. Huge game for both these teams. And in this game, there is no full angle you could give me. Both these defenses are elite. Both these defenses in the run game are very strong. Both these defenses in the passing game are very strong. And both these teams are healthy overall. Matthew Golden's back for Green Bay. There's still no Jaden Reed, but Matthew Golden's back for Green Bay. The Broncos all around are a healthy team outside of Dobbins being out for the year. This is a pretty healthy team. It's a pretty healthy matchup all around for them. And both these defenses are elite. There's not a full angle you could give me off the bat where I'd say this is why they would win, this is why they're going to lose. None of it. None of it. Here's my deal. Green Bay last week got their swagger back. You could see it. Matt LaFleur hearing that noise from Ben Johnson when he signed as the Bears head coach saying, yeah, I love beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. LaFleur. Loved beating him twice a year. LaFleur heard that. He delivered. He gave a quick handshake after that game, ran off with a W. The Green Bay Packers got their swagger back. Jordan Love last week diced up the Bears secondary however he wanted. He wanted his food to go, take out. He wanted to sit down, have a nice meal. Whichever way he wanted it, he got it. He cooked that Bears secondary, especially against the blitz. He was fantastic. Packers offensive line was fantastic, especially against the blitz. They got their damn swagger back. So I'll tell you what, that's why I'm going to take Green Bay. Right? There's not a lot of numbers I can give you in this game, given these defenses, given these offenses. Maybe, there's some things to look at with Denver's offense stalling a bit. But Green Bay's has too at times this year. Not a lot of numbers you can dig into to give an edge for either one of these teams. But I do like Green Bay swagger. And I think they're going to carry that into a huge road game at Mile High Stadium. Because if you got a pure angle, give it to me. But I think Green Bay will give Denver their first home L of the year. Denver has not lost at home. I believe they're 6-0 on the season. But Denver, another big thing, they haven't played a legit defense in a month. And that was in Houston. They got to win 18-15. I'm worried they come out a little flat. We're in our own building. We haven't lost in our own building. We've played, defensively amazing football. I think the offense may come out a little flat. Makes me a little nervous. They've had some easy competition. Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay. Green Bay's got their own issues, don't get me wrong. But the swagger is there. Give me Jordan Love, give me the Pack, give me LaFleur to continue to remain atop the NFC North, at least for the time being. Give me the Pack to get it done on the road. And I like this pick. I'm confident in it. I like this pick. Give me Green Bay to get the major dub. Moving on forward to another big game. Huge playoff implication game in the NFC. The 8-5 Lions traveling to take on the 10-3 LA Rams. Jared Goff returns home, returns back to LA. Welcome back, big old Jared. I think Detroit comes out swinging in this spot. You saw the offense really click last week against the Cowboys. Granted, it's the Cowboys. Their defense is bottom 10, bottom 5 in a majority of categories. But they looked comfortable. They scored, I believe it was 44. Gibbs had a great game. Amon-Ra did his thing even off the injury. Jameson Williams did his thing. Montgomery got going. Detroit's going to come out swinging. I know that. I believe that. I feel like I know that. They're going to come out with some energy, some pop, some fire. But my biggest issue is that secondary against Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, who is the MVP right now, who at this exact moment in 2025 is the best passer in the NFL. He does not throw many interceptions. He throws a lot of touchdowns. That Lions secondary has shown week in and week out, especially without Terry and Arnold, to be weak, to be able to be exposed. That's my big worrisome point here for Detroit. The Lions also have to play some damn clean football if they want to beat the Rams. The Rams have one of the best turnover differentials in the NFL. I believe it's third best, plus 10. Yeah, third best turnover differential in the NFL for the Rams at plus 10. They don't give the ball away. They take the ball away from you. So the Lions are going to have to play clean football. Sometimes for Goff, that's difficult. Sometimes. Luckily, it's inside. Luckily, it's LA. It's not going to be cold. He struggles in the cold. You're not going to have to worry fully about that here, but it's something to note. And it feels like an upset spot, does it not? Everything I've kind of touched on, you can hear it in my tone. It feels like I'm going to say, so I'm going to go with Detroit. But the Rams all around are the better team, especially this season. And it's so hard to pick against the Rams because, again, last episode, what we touched on, how balanced they are. They've given up the least amount of rushing touchdowns in the NFL. That's going to hinder Gibbs here. Matthew Stafford, least interceptions in the NFL. They're top 10 in rushing yards. They're top 5, 8 in sacks. They give up no sacks. They're so balanced. You can't pick against the Rams. If you are, kudos to you. And I get it here a bit in this spot if you do. But the Rams are the better team. I'm going to take the better team in their own building to get the win. And the big reason is because of the stat I already gave you. Rams have given up the least amount of rushing touchdowns in the NFL. It's either 4 or 5. We've seen the Detroit Lions. When Jahmyr Gibbs finds the end zone, when he plays well, very well, the Lions win. When he struggles, when he doesn't find the end zone, when they can't utilize Gibbs how they fully want to, the Lions lose. The Lions rely on Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe more than they should in 2025. The Rams' rushing defense is very, very solid, very strong. That's what worries me here as well for the Detroit Lions. So overall, I like the Lions to come out hot, firing, and full of energy. But the end result, I think I got to take LA. So I'm going to take the Rams in a really entertaining game. I like both quarterbacks in this spot to get a good amount of passing yards, good amount of volume, maybe find some success. I like the passing game here for both Goff and Stafford. But I'm going to take the Rams in their building to get it done because they're the better team all around. Better team all around. Give me the Rams. Let's keep moving forward. We now run into a major NFC South clash. The 7-6 Panthers traveling to take on the 3-10 New Orleans Saints. The question for you, can the Saints do it again? Can the Saints pull off a major upset in back-to-back weeks in the NFC South? Maybe so. Let's see. Rico Dowdle, the Panthers star running back, did not practice on Wednesday night. That is an issue. This has happened before in previous weeks. I'm not too concerned about it. It's just something to note. Dowdle did not practice on Wednesday. Saints have given up the 10th most rushing yards in the NFL this season. The Panthers, as I say every week, bread and butter, rushing the football. Dowdle, I think, is going to be okay. I think he's going to play in this spot. I'm not too worried about it. Dowdle and Hubbard are going to have to win this football game for the Carolina Panthers. Part of that also being the Saints secondary has been better than it may seem. They've actually been pretty good, almost top 10 in some aspects. And for the Panthers, their defense has been pretty mid in both categories, very average, kind of in secondary and up front. I can't overemphasize the fact that Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard are, if the Panthers want to win, are going to have to win this game for them. The Saints are vulnerable in their running defense. The Panthers know that. They're going to exploit that, especially given that the Saints secondary is pretty solid. But this is a harder game than I think some are going to anticipate, maybe than some would want to believe. NFC South matchup, Saints playing with nothing to lose. Tyler Shuck's got some good pop to him. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Tyler Shuck. Had some buddies over here 2 weeks ago. They were mentioning Tyler Shuck. I'm like, guys, this is a good quarterback. Tyler Shuck, I think, could be a future, quarterback, future leader of this Saints team. I think the Saints see that too. Shuck's got it, man. He's got athletic ability, solid arm. He's going to be their franchise guy. I really believe that. Right now, they're not playing for much, but they're playing to knock off an NFC South rival in back-to-back weeks. I think the Saints come to play a little bit in their own building. I don't think they're necessarily going to win. I think they're going to come to play a little bit. This game's going to be competitive. I think this game's going to be close. I like the Panthers' ability to run it here. Obviously, the Panthers like their ability to hopefully run it here. Overall, I like this game to be low scoring, and I like it to be close. Give me Carolina. I'm going to take the Panthers to pull it out. Give me 17-14 or 20-17 or 21-17. Give me something right around that range. So in that case, the under would hit. Give me something right around there. And give me the Panthers in a gritty type of game to squeak it out. But as I've said several times now, Saints keep this game close. Why not? Give me the Panthers. This next game we're going to keep about 20 seconds. The 2-11 Titans at the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers. 49ers. That is my winner. 49ers. I'm not giving stats here. Not many, at least. 49ers coming off the bye week, and they need every win they can get. But coming off the bye, they're healthy. They're healthy. They're ready to rock and roll. I believe their last game was Cleveland. Gave them the work. Got a late bye for them, which was much needed. Jennings, Pearsall, Kittle, Purdy, McCaffrey can all take a little week's rest, which they desperately needed. In their own building, in San Fran, I like them to win. I like them to cover. That is in Swank's banks, so I'll mention that more later. McCaffrey's in a good spot here overall. Titans are giving up the second most rushing touchdowns in the NFL. Great spot for McCaffrey. Overall, great spot for the Niners. They looked comfortable against Cleveland. I expect them to look very comfortable here at home against a Titans team that is dead in the water. I understand they won last week. I understand the Titans won last week. They're 2-11. They're dead. I like the Niners big. I'm going to take the Niners to cover. McCaffrey, again, is in a good spot. And if they get the lead, they'll just continue to run the football with McCaffrey for a bit. Nothing crazy here jumps off the page DFS-wise besides maybe pushing the McCaffrey agenda, which I like. I'll probably have him in DFS. This one is quick. 49ers, let's keep moving forward. 3 games left to cover. 3 games left here on the docket, but 3 very interesting and meaningful games. The 8-5 Colts traveling to take on the 10-3 Seattle Seahawks. Seattle in their own building. Again, against the 8-5 Colts. The playoff aspirations still hoping Colts. The Colts are 13.5-point dogs on the road. That is, I'm just going to say it, that is way too much. Way too many points here. I understand the Colts don't have Daniel Jones. He's out for a year with torn Achilles. Speedy recovered in him. I understand we got the Unk at 44 years old. Phillip Rivers coming in, from his house, being retired for 4 or 5 years, coming in to make this start, most likely, for the Indianapolis Colts. 13.5 is way too much. That Colt team is too talented to be dogs by that much. So I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Colts to cover. 1,000%. It's in my banks. You'll hear it. You'll see it. 100% taking the Colts to cover. Seahawks have one of the best running defenses in the NFL. We touched on this on Monday night. That's where a big worrisome point is for me, right? Okay, Daniel Jones is out. We could spam Jonathan Taylor button, which I still think they're going to do. But that Seattle defensive front is one of the best in the NFL. So Taylor might get 30 carries, but it might be for 80, 85, 90 yards. That's about it. That's where what worries here lie here. And so I don't think Taylor's going to be able to be uber successful on the ground. They're going to get him going in the passing game just to get him out in space. 100%. The volume is going to be there. 1,000%. Will the production be there? Will the fantasy production be there? I don't know. I'm worried about that in this game. Seattle's secondary as well has been tough. They've been, pretty solid all season long. Here's a player I like a lot in DFS and in fantasy. Tyler Warren. This is a great Tyler Warren spot. Seattle has given up the second most passing yards to tight ends this season amongst all other teams. Vulnerability is a very hard spot to find in that Seattle defense overall. They are giving the second most passing yards up in the NFL to tight ends. This is a Tyler Warren spot. They're not going to be able to run the football effectively like they want to. They will run the football a lot, but not as effectively as they're going to want to, in my opinion. Right? That's how I see this game. Phillip Rivers coming in. Check down. Tyler Warren could go for 25 fantasy points this week. That is something to note. That is something to utilize this week. Tyler Warren will be locked in my DFS lineups this week. Let's talk about the Colts secondary. Their secondary has no Sauce Gardner, no Ward. Ward's out on IR with a concussion. So you're missing your top two corners. Worrisome. Worries me a little bit. I could keep going, right? Blah, blah, blah. More stats, more numbers, blah, blah, blah. Give me Seattle to win this football game, but give me the Colts here 100% to cover and keep it somewhat close, competitive at least, with the Seattle Seahawks. We all know Sam Darnold can drop an egg here and there. We all know Seattle actually in their own building is worse than they are on the road. The Phillip Rivers aspect, the Tyler Warren high volume, the 13.5 is disrespectful. Give me the Colts to cover. Give me Seattle to win. Give me the Colts to keep it close. And we move forward to Sunday Night Football. The 5-8 Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys. We're diving straight into this one. Vikings secondary has actually been somewhat solid this year. And the Cowboys, on the flip side, have given up the most passing yards in the NFL. That secondary is still atrocious. No other word for it. Actually, there is another word for it. What is it? It's trash. Garbage, if you will. Horrible, if you shall. Cowboys secondary is just chopped. Completely chopped. And P48 knows that. P48 knows that. Let's keep going. The Vikings have given up the third most sacks in the NFL this season. Something to note. But the Cowboys don't really sack the quarterback too often. For the Vikings, their weakest point comes in their running game. Defensively, it's in the run game. So that's where they're weakest. Can the Cowboys run the football? They can. Javonte Williams, maybe a little Jadon Blue, maybe a little Dak Prescott, scrambling outside the pocket a little bit. They can. So I think that's kind of their point of emphasis. It's not going to be, if the Cowboys want to win, a typical Cowboys win. I think if they want to win, they have to do it on the ground in a spot like this, which they're capable of. I think they're capable of. Javonte Williams is going to get a good amount of volume in this spot. I fully believe that. If they want to win, though, it's going to have to look a little bit different, in my eyes, than what we've seen from the Dallas Cowboys. It's not going to be a full Pickens and Lamb parade. Yeah, they're going to get utilized a lot, but I don't think they're going to have as much success as they've had in previous wins this year in Arlington. And I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm taking P48 in the Minnesota Vikings to end the Dallas Cowboys season. In prime time, in the Cowboys building, in Jerry World, prime time. I'm taking P48 in the Minnesota Vikings to go in there and defeat the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas is going to have to run the football, like we just touched on. I think they can do that pretty well. But that Dallas secondary is the worst in the NFL. P48 had a good game last week. Why not? I'm going to take the Vikings to go in there and end the Dallas Cowboys season for the whole world to see on primetime. I'm not rooting for the Cowboys' downfall. It's just in this spot, given what I've told you, I am predicting it. Give me the Vikings to win this game on Sunday Night Football. We'll see how that one ages. And wrapping things up, Monday Night Football, and it's a damn interesting one. The 6-7 Dolphins traveling to take on the 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers, the first place AFC North Pittsburgh Steelers. Straight into this one as well. Both these defenses have not been great this season whatsoever. Very weak, honestly, on all fronts. The Dolphins have, quote, heavy air quotes here, momentum. They have, I'm going to say it again to emphasize, momentum. If you're not watching, I'm doing the biggest air quotes possible. Because how would you define this momentum? Their competition's been very poor. Swank, they don't make the schedule. They play who they play on the schedule. I get it. But if we're talking about confidence in myself being able to pick the Dolphins from what I've been seeing from them over the past month in this spot, you're wrong. You're crazy, I should say. Because I'm taking the Steelers to win this game. And I'm taking them not only comfortably, confidently. We all know Tua in the cold. Oh, but Swank last week, Tua played well in the cold. I get it. I get all this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm fully aware of all of it. I promise you. Tua, historically, statistically, has been god-awful in cold weather games. This is a night game in Pittsburgh, prime time. I don't think this game stays close. I really don't. I like Pittsburgh in this spot a lot. I like the Steelers here on the ground, especially. Dolphins giving up the 8th most rushing yards in the NFL. Vulnerability on the ground for the Dolphins' defensive front. What does Pittsburgh like to do? Run the football. Well, they would like to run the football with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. They can't really do it all that successfully, but they would like to. This is a good spot for them to. Along with that, the Steelers' tight ends are in a really good spot. Dolphins giving up the 4th most passing yards to tight ends this season. So the tight ends have a good matchup. The running backs have a good matchup for Pittsburgh. You could say kind of the same thing for Miami. But given the cold weather, given the environment, given the primetime spot, given the Steelers, how they played last week, I like them to carry that momentum into this spot. And I don't think this game stays close. I like Pittsburgh to win. I like Pittsburgh to cover. And I don't even know what their cover is. That's what I like here. Metcalf got going last week. Rodgers was feeling the energy last week. The clock strikes midnight for the Dolphins here in this spot. I'm taking Pittsburgh, and I'm taking them comfortably. Giving the Steelers to get the win. And that wraps up our Week 15 picks preview and analysis. In depth, got a few major upsets in there, not too many. We got some big-time winners on this week. This is crunch time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's also time to move into Swank's Banks to wrap up the show. Season record, 43-41. We're 2 games above 500. That still means green, people. We have more wins than losses on the year. That still means green. We went 2-4 in Week 14. That's in the past. Week 14 is fully now in the rear view mirror, especially when it comes to our bets. So let's touch on and expand on, just here for a sec, my 6 favorite bets of the NFL for Week 15, and they correlate a lot to what we've already talked about. Number 1, my Swank's tank, which has moved to 8-6 on the year. I had Texans money line as my tank last week. That hit. My tank is my favorite bet of the 6 every week. My tank for this week, drumroll, Eagles minus 11.5. Lock that in. I'm locking that in for anything, with anything. I'm only putting like 1 or 2 units on it. But lock that in. Personally, that's what I believe. I'm not telling you to take these bets. You bet how you will, right? I'm not responsible for what you're betting. You bet how you want to. I'm not telling you to bet what I'm betting. I'm telling you what I'm betting. Whether you want to follow that or not, that's your own decision. I'm betting Eagles minus 11.5. I'm extremely confident in it. Number 2, I like Bills Patriots under 49.5. Cold weather, you got that great rushing defense for New England. You have a great secondary in Buffalo. I think those two forces kind of combine together. We get a gritty game in New England. I like the under, 49.5. Bengals money line, number 3. We touched on this one a lot earlier. Joe Burrow against the Ravens has had success. The Ravens are not a good football team. I think Joe Burrow can end their season this week. I think he does. Bengals money line. Number 4, 49ers minus 13. I know it's steep. I know that line is steep, but I think it's a line worth taking. Personally, I'm not telling you for you to bet it or take it. I'm saying from my viewpoint, this is how I view it. I'm going to do it and take it. In their own building, off the bye against the Tennessee Titans team that gives up a lot of rushing touchdowns. McCaffrey should have success. The 49ers should have success as a whole. 49ers minus 13. I'm also taking Colts plus 14. That's what my book gave me. Plus 14. It might be plus 13.5 for you. I'm taking them plus 14. That needs no further explanation. To wrap it up, Steelers money line is my 6th bet of the week. Steelers money line I'm confident in. I'm confident in all 6 bets. I'm confident in all of every single game I picked this week. I love my feel for this slate. I really, really do. Week 15's got some big-time matchups, some big-time games. You've probably got some big-time fantasy matchups. If you're looking for some of this content chopped up to maybe help you win those matchups, go and follow on all the socials at the Swank Tank. YouTube, we're growing in subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, and it would really help me out. Help us continue to grow. On Instagram, on TikTok, hit that follow button. Continue to help us to grow. This show is going places, people. It's a little bit small now, but we're growing. And at some point, we're going to hit a cap. Not a cap. We're going to hit a moment where we just propel into what hopes to be a potential full-time show one day. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this show. Good luck in your fantasy matchups. Good luck in your DFS. Good luck with your bets. Really appreciate all of you if you made it. As always, for making this show even happen and even possible. Thank you so much. We will see you next week, recapping a majority of this week 15, and it's going to be a damn good one. I'm your host, Ryan Swank. This is episode, I believe it's now 28. It is Thursday morning, December 11th. Whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching, I appreciate you greatly. Have a great weekend. Have a great NFL weekend. Good luck to you, and we'll see you on Monday.